Ladies and gentlemen, there is a difference, an unmistakable difference, between the man who hopes to win and the man who moves like he already has. The former hesitates. He looks over his shoulder. He seeks permission. The latter, he strides forward, calm, certain, and unshakable. Victory is not something that arrives at your doorstep wrapped in applause and confirmation. It does not knock politely and wait for you to feel ready. Victory is forged first and foremost in the mind. Before the world sees the accomplishment, before the accolades, before the moment of triumph that others recognize, the true battle is fought and won in the mental space of belief, conviction, and decision. This is where the majority of people fail, not because they lack skill, resources, or opportunity, but because they never truly see themselves winning. They hope, they wish, they dabble with the idea of success, but they do not own it in their minds. They treat it like a possibility, not a certainty. And in doing so, they unknowingly forfeit the one thing that separates those who rise from those who remain stuck: inner certainty. The man who moves like he has already won doesn't wait for the world to validate him. He doesn't look for permission to act. His steps are sure, not because he's guaranteed the outcome, but because he's chosen to believe in it. He's trained his mind to see beyond current circumstances, to live from the end backward. He visualizes the outcome, breathes as though it's real, and acts in alignment with that reality every single day. This mindset is not delusion, it is discipline. It is the disciplined choice to believe in something before it exists in the physical world. Every invention, every revolution, every masterpiece began in the mind of someone who dared to see what others couldn't. They did not wait for success to make them feel worthy. They stepped into worthiness first and let success catch up. This is why mental rehearsal is so powerful. Athletes do it, performers do it, leaders do it, because when the mind has seen it, the body knows what to do. Doubt is diminished when belief is rehearsed daily. When you live mentally from the position of already having won, your body language changes, your decisions sharpen. You no longer flinch at obstacles. You navigate them as if you've done it before, because in your mind you already have. When your internal world becomes saturated with certainty, your external world begins to reflect it. Confidence doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be rooted. And it's rooted in the unwavering belief that success is already yours. It's just a matter of alignment and execution. This belief changes how you prepare, how you speak, how you carry yourself. It's not the result that creates belief. It's belief that creates the result. Too many people spend their lives waiting for proof before they commit to belief. But the irony is, belief is the proof. When you anchor yourself mentally in a place of victory, the rest of your life begins to move around that anchor. You begin to operate with a different level of energy, a different rhythm, a different presence. People can sense it. Opportunities respond to it. The world starts to bend towards someone who no longer carries the energy of uncertainty. Certainty is the foundation upon which decisive action is built. It is the invisible force that shapes how a person walks into a room, starts a project, or faces a challenge. When someone carries the inner conviction that they have already won, every move they make reflects that belief. There is no room for hesitation, no pause for doubt, no internal debate about whether they are ready. They are ready because they have decided they are. And that decision creates a ripple effect that influences their posture, tone, choices, and momentum. Action without belief is fragile. It wavers under pressure, folds under scrutiny, and disappears when results don't show up fast enough. But action fueled by certainty is different. It becomes durable, grounded, and unshakable. It doesn't matter if the world hasn't yet responded. The individual who moves with certainty keeps showing up, because in their mind the outcome is already done. They are simply moving through the necessary steps to meet a destiny they have already accepted. This is what separates the wishful from the powerful. Most people act with caution, as if they're testing the waters of possibility. They make half steps, waiting for feedback to determine whether they should proceed. But the one who moves with certainty isn't looking for reassurance. They act as if they already have it. They're not wondering if it will work. They're focused on how to execute, how to improve, how to align with what they already believe is true. That's the mindset of the already one. Certainty doesn't mean recklessness. It doesn't mean ignoring facts or pretending everything will go smoothly. Instead, it's the quiet understanding that no matter the obstacle, the outcome is inevitable. It allows for failure without collapsing under it. It provides clarity in chaos, not because there are no problems, but because the individual sees problems as part of the path, not as signs to turn back. When the vision is solid, temporary setbacks lose their power to paralyze. This kind of inner certainty is often mistaken for arrogance, but it's not loud or boastful. It's steady, it's calm. It's the kind of energy that doesn't need to convince anyone else because it is already convinced itself. That self-conviction leads to efficiency. There is no wasted energy in overthinking or second-guessing. Time isn't lost spiraling in fear or chasing validation. The person who moves with certainty streamlines every process because doubt isn't dragging at their heels. Certainty also breeds consistency. When you believe the end is assured, you show up whether you feel like it or not. You take steps forward whether the results are immediate or delayed. You invest deeply in preparation, in execution, in resilience, because your belief in the outcome makes the effort worthwhile. The gap between the starting line and the finish line becomes something to navigate, not something to fear. Confidence born of certainty creates a rhythm, a cadence, a forward motion that doesn't rely on motivation or external pressure. The power of certainty is that it builds trust, not just with others, but within yourself. Every time you act in alignment with what you believe, you reinforce your own integrity. You become the kind of person who does what they say, who follows through, who doesn't shrink in the face of uncertainty. Eventually, the world adjusts to meet someone who refuses to move as if they might win, and instead moves as if they already have. Success is not stumbled upon, nor is it handed out at random. It is claimed through a conscious decision made long before the outcome is visible. The man who wins doesn't sit back waiting for life to present him with an opportunity wrapped in perfect conditions. He doesn't rely on chance or luck to lead him to his goals. He makes a decision, bold, unwavering, final, that he will win. From that moment forward, everything he does flows from that commitment. Deciding to succeed is more powerful than simply wanting it. Wanting is passive. It leans on hope and leans away from risk. It carries the energy of hesitation, the fear of failure, and the constant question of whether or not it's possible. But deciding is active. It shifts the internal compass. It doesn't ask, what if I fail? It declares, I will succeed, and then builds a life that aligns with that declaration. This is why some people rise while others remain stuck. It's not always about talent or resources. It's about the depth of their decision. When you've decided, you endure longer. You take rejection differently. You stay in the game when others fold. You no longer view hard times as reasons to quit, but as necessary terrain on the road to what you've already chosen. That decision also becomes a filter. You begin to say no to things that don't serve your vision. You cut out the noise. You build habits that support the person you're becoming, not the one you used to be. Each choice you make is measured against the standard set by your decision. If it aligns, you move forward. If it doesn't, you leave it behind. There is no need to overthink or justify. You're not dabbling. You're not testing the waters. You've decided. And once you decide, your energy shifts. You carry yourself differently. You stop asking small questions and start demanding big answers. People notice it. Opportunities begin to appear, not because the world changed, but because you did. You're no longer looking around for direction. You've become the one who knows where he's going. You've taken the first and most important step, not just to wish for success, but to declare it with your life. True motivation is not born from the cheers of a crowd or the claps of approval. It doesn't rely on attention, compliments, or recognition. The kind of drive that sustains greatness comes from something far deeper, something untouchable by public opinion. It comes from purpose. Purpose is what fuels a person when no one is watching. It's what wakes them up early, keeps them up late, and pushes them through the days when nothing seems to be working. Applause may feel good, but it's fleeting. Purpose, on the other hand, is permanent. When a person is driven by purpose, they don't need an audience to perform. Their commitment isn't based on whether others notice or approve. They work in silence, often in solitude, because what drives them isn't external validation, it's internal alignment. They know what they're here to do, and that knowledge alone becomes their reason to keep moving forward. Even when the results aren't visible yet, even when the process feels endless, they keep showing up, because the mission means more than the moment. Applause is reactive. It comes after the action, after the success, after the recognition. But purpose is proactive. It's there before the win, before the breakthrough, before anyone believes. It's not a response to success. It's the reason success is even possible. The person who lives from purpose doesn't need the world to cheer for them because they've already chosen to cheer for themselves. They don't wait for motivation to arrive. They are the motivation. This inner drive gives them staying power. When others burn out, they push through. When others get distracted, they stay focused. Purpose gives clarity, and with clarity comes direction. They don't waste energy chasing every opportunity or listening to every opinion. They filter decisions through their purpose. Does this move me closer to my calling? If not, it's dismissed. That kind of focus is rare, and it's powerful. It's more productive if you're both American men. Check out 10 psychologically sound millionaire men. External validation is addictive. The more someone depends on it, the more they need it to feel good, to feel seen, to feel worthy. But the one who's driven by purpose is free from that trap. They're not performing for approval. They're pursuing something that matters more than ego, more than popularity, more than praise. That's why they last longer. That's why they're more consistent. Their fuel doesn't run out when the applause fades. It keeps burning because it was never lit by the crowd in the first place. Purpose also creates resilience. When the journey gets tough, the applause disappears. When failure hits, the critics get louder than the supporters. But the person who is purpose-driven keeps going because they're not walking the path for the applause. They're walking it because it aligns with who they are and what they believe they're here to do. Their identity is anchored in the mission, not in the opinions of others. That makes them unshakable. Applause is a byproduct. Purpose is the source. When your life is guided by something bigger than recognition, you move with a different energy. You don't need to be seen to keep going. You don't need to be celebrated to stay committed. You are no longer chasing moments of validation. You are fulfilling something that's already alive within you. Winners are not separated by talent alone, nor by intelligence or charm. One of the most defining traits of those who succeed is their ability to act. Not someday, not when things are perfect, not after the fear disappears. They act now. They take the step even when the path isn't fully clear. They understand that hesitation is the silent killer of momentum. Every second spent waiting is a second lost. Every moment spent analyzing instead of executing is a moment further from the goal. Those who achieve big things understand that progress comes through movement, not through waiting for permission. The person who wins does not need the conditions to be ideal. He doesn't wait until the timing is right, until all the lights turn green, until every question is answered. He moves anyway. He understands that clarity is often earned through action. It's not something you're handed up front. It's something you gain by being in motion. By taking one step, you learn what the next one should be. Sitting still doesn't provide answers. It provides excuses. It feeds the illusion of preparation while burying you under inaction. Action builds confidence. The more you do, the more you believe. It's not the other way around. Waiting to feel confident before acting is a trap. Confidence grows when you prove to yourself that you're capable, when you take the risk, when you show up scared, when you try and fail and get up again. Each step forward is a vote for your future self. Each decision to act is a declaration that you are no longer tied to fear or procrastination. The truth is, perfection is an illusion. The conditions you're waiting for may never come. The moment will never feel exactly right. Those who move despite discomfort are the ones who gain ground. They build momentum through consistency, through courage, through a relentless refusal to remain stuck. Even small actions compound over time. What starts as a single step becomes a walk, becomes a run, becomes a full sprint towards something meaningful. Winners understand that risk is part of the process. They accept that mistakes will be made, that missteps are inevitable, but they also know that inaction is the only true failure. You can adjust a plan in motion. You can learn from a wrong turn, but you can't steer a ship that's anchored in fear. Movement allows for course correction. Stagnation breeds self-doubt. There's also a power that comes from choosing urgency over hesitation. It creates a sense of discipline and intensity. It signals to the mind and body that this is important, that this is worth doing now, not later. That urgency becomes a habit, a mindset, a part of your identity. You stop living in someday, you start living in now. That shift changes how you make decisions, how you handle resistance, how you prioritize your time. Action is not just about doing, it's about becoming. Every step forward changes you. It sharpens your focus, strengthens your will, and builds resilience. It trains your mind to value execution over delay. Those who win are not just dreamers, they are doers. They understand that progress beats perfection and that movement, no matter how small, is the first sign that success is on its way. Confidence built on true alignment is quiet, stable, and enduring. It doesn't shout, it doesn't seek attention, and it doesn't fluctuate with every win or loss. It comes from knowing that your thoughts, your actions, and your direction are in harmony. You are not pretending, you are not performing. You are simply being who you have already decided to become. That kind of confidence doesn't come from applause or comparison. It comes from within, from living in sync with your values, your purpose, and your vision. When someone is aligned, they move with integrity. Their inner beliefs match their external behavior. There is no internal conflict, no need to fake anything. What they say is what they do. What they believe is how they act. This creates a level of trust within themselves that becomes unshakable. Confidence, in this sense, is not about being better than others. It's about being consistent with yourself. It's the result of proving over and over again that you can count on your own word. This type of confidence is often misunderstood. To the outside world, it may look like arrogance. It may look like a lack of humility. But in truth, it is simply clarity. The aligned person is not concerned with being liked. They are not chasing approval. They are focused on staying true to what they know they must do. That clarity allows them to move quickly, speak boldly, and act decisively. They are not second-guessing every step because they trust the direction they've chosen. Alignment also creates peace. When your thoughts and actions are unified, you don't live in internal conflict. You're not torn between what you want and what you're doing. There's no gap between who you are and who you're pretending to be. That internal peace becomes the foundation of external power. You walk differently when you're not battling yourself. You carry yourself differently when you're not wearing a mask. That's real confidence, not noise, not ego, just authenticity. True alignment requires self-awareness and discipline. You have to know what you stand for. You have to define your principles and commit to them, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard, because confidence grows every time you honor your standards, every time you say no to what doesn't fit, every time you choose the hard right over the easy wrong. With each of those moments, your identity strengthens and your confidence deepens. The aligned individual also radiates presence. When someone has nothing to hide, they don't fidget, they don't overcompensate, they don't seek validation. They are fully present, fully grounded, fully engaged. People around them feel that energy. It's not forced, it's not rehearsed. It's the result of being completely settled in who they are and where they're going. That's the kind of presence that commands respect without demanding it. The confidence that comes from alignment lasts longer than any kind built on external status or surface-level success. Because when the lights go off, when the crowd is gone, and when things get quiet, what remains is the person you are when no one's watching. And if that person is rooted in alignment, you don't need to be loud. You don't need to convince anyone. You just keep moving forward, steady and certain, fueled by the power of being exactly who you're meant to be. Winners understand that adversity is not a reason to stop. It is a requirement. They do not flinch when things go wrong. They do not fall apart when plans fall apart. They expect resistance. They anticipate setbacks, and they accept that discomfort is part of the price of growth. Instead of avoiding the hard moments, they lean into them. They see challenges not as a sign to turn back, but as confirmation that they're on the right path. Every obstacle becomes a training ground, every hardship a test, and every failure a lesson that strengthens their resolve. The difference lies in how they interpret pain. While most people see struggle as punishment, winners see it as preparation. They understand that discomfort is feedback. It's the pressure that forges strength, the friction that sharpens clarity, the weight that builds endurance. The very things others try to escape are the same things winners embrace, because they know greatness is not found in comfort. It is built in the moments that demand more than you think you have and force you to rise beyond who you were yesterday. They don't wait for the struggle to end before they commit. They don't need life to ease up before they show up. They commit during the chaos. They move forward in the middle of uncertainty. They choose to persist not because it's easy, but because they've already decided that quitting is not an option. That kind of mindset makes them nearly unstoppable. They don't waste energy wishing it was different. They use that energy to adapt, to focus, to push through. This resilience doesn't come from denial. It comes from preparation. Winners have trained themselves to expect difficulty, not fear it. So when it arrives, they're not surprised. They're not thrown off course. They treat adversity like a companion, not an enemy. They've built the mental toughness to keep moving, even when every part of them wants to retreat. And that toughness isn't something you're born with, it's earned, moment by moment through deliberate choice in difficult times. Hard times reveal what soft times hide. They show you who you really are. They expose your weaknesses, yes, but they also reveal your strength. They peel away the illusions and force you to get honest about what you want, what you believe, and what you're willing to fight for. Winners don't resent this process. They value it, because each time they overcome a challenge, they become more prepared for the next one. Each storm survived becomes proof that they can handle what's coming. There is also a hidden power in being forged by struggle. It creates a depth of character that cannot be faked. It gives you an edge that no one can take away. When you've been through enough, when you've endured enough, you begin to walk differently. You speak with more weight. You no longer react to every inconvenience or fear every unknown. You've seen the worst, and you're still standing. That kind of strength isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It speaks for itself in how you carry yourself, how you lead, how you persist when others would fold. Victory is not something that arrives at your doorstep by surprise. It is something you prepare for, believe in, and walk toward every single day. The man who wins doesn't wait to feel successful before he acts successful. He carries himself as if the victory is already his. His posture, his speech, his focus. They all reflect a mind that has already accepted the outcome as inevitable. He isn't playing to see if he can win. He's playing from the belief that it's already done. That belief shapes how he moves, how he thinks, how he shows up in every room and in every moment. Carrying yourself like you've already won is not arrogance, it's alignment. It's moving in a way that reflects the future you've chosen instead of the present that's still catching up. It's walking into situations with a sense of calm authority, knowing that you've already visualized the win, planned for it, and committed to it. There's no need for panic, no need to prove yourself. The work has already begun inside, and now your external world is simply following that internal blueprint. When you move like a winner, you stop negotiating with fear. You stop shrinking in uncertain situations. You stand tall because you've already done the internal work to become the kind of person who wins. The habits are in place. The mindset is sharpened. The decision has been made. So even if the scoreboard doesn't reflect the outcome yet, your behavior does. That consistency between belief and action is what builds momentum. It's what makes the world start to respond to you differently because you're showing up differently. People can sense the energy of someone who believes in themselves at a deep level. They may not be able to explain it, but they feel it. It's in the way you speak with conviction instead of doubt. It's in the way you handle problems without panic, handle success without ego, and handle setbacks without collapse. The energy of someone who has already claimed the win is calm, focused, and unshakable. They're not trying to impress anyone. They're not chasing validation. They're walking a path they've already committed to, and it shows. This way of moving doesn't just influence how others see you, it transforms how you see yourself. When your behavior aligns with the belief that success is already yours, you begin to rewire your identity. You stop playing small. You stop tolerating distractions and low standards. You begin to operate from a higher level of intention. You protect your time. You guard your mindset. You invest in growth like it's non-negotiable, because in your mind you're not hoping for the win. You're walking toward it with every choice you make. Moving like you've already won also creates a magnetic force. Opportunities seem to find you. People want to align with you, not because you're lucky, but because you become someone who is easy to follow, easy to trust, and impossible to ignore. There is clarity in your direction. There is purpose in your pace. Every move you make sends a message not just to the world, but to yourself, that you are already living in the energy of the result you've claimed.